you love anime, you're liking it, like, wala kang mahilang buhok, hindi ka magagalit, diba? I know how a joke can be stretched. This joke is flexible. Go bald, bro. Ang saya. It's different kasi if you express anger and if you let anger take over you. Alam mo, pare, maling ginawa mo eh. Talagang sobrang bad trip. No one's gonna get yourself out of your situation but yourself.
Kamusta sa inyo mga cancer? Ito nga pala ang Pampamilya Podcast, an anima podcast. And i-follow nyo po pala ang aming Facebook page na pangalan din is Pampamilya Podcast.
Yeah!
Ito po ngayon ang aming guest. Isa po siyang host, comedian, family man, boy backup, di boy pick up, Kalbo rights activist, ang ating Kalbro for today.
Kalbo light activist. Gusto ko yan.
Di ba?
Kalbo right activist. Pwede yan. Kalbo lives matter actually.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
Truly.
Tama. Thanks guys. Thanks for having me. Sorry na delay tayo today ha. Medyo nagka-issue lang sa sa Discord, pero here we are.
Isa sa mga una kong instances na nakita kita aside from sa Bubblegum is nag-host ka sa Dota 2 tournaments.
Yes.
Are you active in Dota 2 or sa competitive scene? Gano'n? Do you still have time?
Yes, I was. Pero actually I was asked for the Bali Major just a few weeks ago, pero hindi kami nag-align. Ako kasi during the pandemic, that's during the time na usually nag-isip ka talaga, you kinda reflect. Because before the pandemic, halos lahat tayo, autopilot, work, you know what I mean? It's the usual grind. Because I was on my way to host the LA Major before the pandemic. I got my visa. I spent so much money on that visa. Grabe talaga. Hindi naman kailangan pangalan. Hindi naman pala kailangan because si Lon from Mineski at the time. Shout out to you, Lon, bro. Helped me out. Sobrang dali. So I got my visa and then I think nandun na yung plane ticket. We were gonna fly in a few days. Then yun, na-announce yung pandemic. And then, wala. It got, wala na. That's when life changed for all of us. Pero through the pandemic, I was very active in Dota. And traveling everywhere. And then, napaisip ako because for me, throughout the pandemic, yes, it was very, very difficult for all of us. Pero I personally, it was so nice to spend time with the family and just reconnect with your loved ones. Kasi usually hindi natin nagagawa yun before the pandemic. I mean, hindi man nagagawa to the degree that the pandemic afforded us to. And I'm saying that understanding how hard it is with all the stresses and all of those things, pero you still get to spend actual time talaga. Like, all you have was time with the family. And napaisip ako, I was like, if I become successful as an esports host, what kind of life would that be for me? Anong klaseng buhay yun? Pag successful ako. Kasi I never really stopped to think ano ba yung binavalue ko ngayon? I love my family. Like you said, I'm a family man. Absolutely. But if I become successful as a Dota host, I'll travel. That's the life as a tier 1 Dota host. You have to travel. One day you're in Europe. Next time you're gonna be in Asia. And then US, you just depending on where the events are, umiikot ka, and it's a very unpredictable life, and it's far from stable din, because you're always competing with talent and everything, and the organizers don't have commitment to you. They're not committed to you. You're not an employee. So if they want to hire you, they want to hire you. If not. Pero for me, the key factor was traveling from country to country in a suitcase. And I asked, is that the kind of life I want? And I'm like, no, because I'll never see my family, I'll never see my wife, I'll never see my son. So, doon ako nag-decide to focus here at home, to focus locally here in the Philippines. And that's when the content started coming out. I'm like, okay, ano pwede mong gawin? I'll create communities. So yun, that's where the community, TikTok started, Facebook started, and this Kalbogama, hostisya para sa Kalbo started. I cannot believe an egg tray joke led to all of this. It's
Power
amazing. Grabe talaga. And no, but I was born in the memes. I was forged in the memes. So I'm all about the memes.
Yes.
Yun lang. So for me, it was that's why I am very open to still doing esports and Dota or any game or even FGC, which I'm also very pero I don't actively chase it because kung naging successful kasi ako doon, hindi yun ang klaseng buhay na gusto ko. So yun lang, and that was a very freeing and a very calming decision to make. Because syempre, opportunities, you're just like, it's so easy to say yes to opportunities. You're just like, uy, sayang to, uy, big stage, uy, international, uy, ganun. And you're like, I absolutely don't regret it though, because I learned so much as a host, hosting in different countries. You really learn a lot. Pero I'm so much happier deciding to focus local.
Yes. Heartfelt. Grabe. Anong ma-advise mo sa mga guys? Well, not just necessarily, kasi usually mga tanong about baldness or mga kalbo eh. Pero sa mga guys ngayon, nauuso kasi yung mga sad boy, walang confidence sa sarili.
Yeah.
Dumadami ngayon yung mga mas introverted na mga tao, di ba?
And it's a men's health
Hindi
month.
masama maging introvert.
Men's health month,
Men's health month pa. Sakto.
Sorry, what was the last you said?
Men's health.
Men's health month.
Yeah.
Mental
Yes.
health.
Yes, okay. Kala ko yung Men's Health yung magazine. Sorry.
Iba yan.
Iba yung inisip ko. Sorry. So mental health, yeah, absolutely. And I think the pandemic definitely added to that, for sure. Kasi there's the dark side of the pandemic where people are forced to face their demons or their face-to-face problems at home. Or and this world is so hard to be present. It's so easily to get distracted and not deal with the problems that you have kasi it's so easy to distract yourself. Like, uy, issues ko sa buhay. Mamaya na yan.
Busy lang, laro ka lang. Ganyan.
Inner demons. Wag na lang.
Ganyan.
So, I would say you really have to take responsibility for yourself. I think that's the number one. Kasi kung hindi kasi, how will you, no one's gonna get yourself out of your situation but yourself. And it's a very scary decision to make, and it's a very liberating decision to make as well. I remember actually, for me, I also struggled with mental health problems, very anxious, panic attacks, all those things. I struggled with that for a good amount of time, and I share that sometimes in my podcast as well when I do Real Talk. I think I had a breakthrough kasi with my mental health a few months ago. Na parang yun pala yun, tapos forever mong di nagigets kung bakit ka ganun. And then it takes a while for your heart and for your body and for your mind to understand, because all three have to understand. If not, wala. If your mind just understands but your heart doesn't believe it, then, or your body doesn't believe it, then wala. You just know it, pero wala pa rin masyadong nagbabago. So what happened was, I remember the point where I was really getting panic attacks. Alam mo yung panic attacks, parang mamamatay ka. You're like, like you breathe, you're gonna open the time hospital. You hug your wife. I love you. If I die, I love you. Ganong ano. And I say that with absolute seriousness. I know I'm smiling when I say that, but it's actually very, very scary to go through. I remember the point when I was in bed and I was like thinking to myself, if I go crazy, that's my fault. If I get through this, that's also on me. Like, that's it. Like, parang, it's the truth. It's like, I'm not saying that to psych myself up. I'm not saying that to parang do anything. I was just simply saying that, yun ang totoo. If I'm gonna get out of this, that's on me. But if I go further in the rabbit hole, that's on me. And I truly believed it. I believed it. At first, it was scary. If I go crazy, ako ngayon. Or if I absolutely fall into dark depression, that's me. But when I admitted it to myself and accepted it, dun parang there was this liberating feeling that came after. So I would say the very first step is to really take responsibility for yourself. Like, I know life is hard. I know some people go through harder things than others. Some probably have chemicals that are not balanced and you have to regulate yourself. But I don't know, like it's hard to tell where it starts with the mind or it starts with your actual chemical composition in your brain. That's something you have to clear up. Ang hirap kasing some kasi say, oh, I'm chemically pero they're not really. Or some think they're not chemically but they actually are chemically imbalanced. So you don't know. That for me is the first step. But regardless if you're fine chemically or you're chemically imbalanced or you went through a lot of issues or trauma, regardless of the situation, it's you who has to respond to that situation. Like no one else is gonna get you out of it. No one else is gonna say, oh, like, diba? Some maybe will jump in there with you and try to get you out, but at the end of the day, kung ayaw mo, kung you believe that you can't get yourself out of it, or it's not on you to get yourself out of it, how will you get yourself out of it?
And yung solution niya hindi one size fits all. No? It will depend on the person.
No, but for me, I think taking responsibility for yourself definitely is a one size fits all way to see something for sure. Like how to get there is definitely different from person to person. But someone who doesn't want to get better or doesn't want to get themselves out of it or
don't want to help
or
yourself.
doesn't take responsibility or doesn't want to help, you can't help someone who doesn't want to help themselves, right? That's really it.
Yeah, that's
Even if you say all the right things, even if you say lahat talaga, lahat ng tamang sabihin na galing tagus puso, na lahat na, as much as you want to say it, as much as someone is willing to burn themselves to help you, you don't want to help yourself then how diba? And I don't know if you've ever tried to help someone that doesn't help themselves. It's very hard. It's actually impossible. It's close to impossible to help someone like, get better. And then so for me is the number one. You really have, and it's one of the scariest and also the most liberating things to accept, but taking responsibility for yourself is the first step for me.
Tama ka dyan. Maraming ang mga kilala ko rin na may mental health issues na sinasabi nila na it doesn't necessarily mean na may mental health issue ka is you don't take accountability for your actions, di ba?
And some will use it as a crutch. A lot will. I know I did. Parang, I'm diagnosed ADHD. ADHD kasi ako eh. Depressed kasi ako eh. Ganito kasi ako eh. Ganyan kasi ako eh. That's for me the dialogue that comes from someone who's using something as a reason to justify their situation. Not to say that it isn't hard, not to say that I don't sympathize, but if you go kasi with that way of thinking, paano na nun?
It never ends.
When will you get out of it? Diba? Ganito kasi ako eh. Ganito kasi. I'm like, sige, valid yan. Pero that's where you'll be. Like, and it's so convenient, diba? Uy, kasi ganito ako. Wala akong kasalanan. Diba? It's so easy. So easy. Oh, pare, ganyan ka. So, okay lang. Hindi mo kasalanan yan. I'm like, nga, no, galing, diba? Tama. And I think for us as Filipinos, accountability, I think, is something that is still medyo behind pa tayo in terms of ang daling to make reasons. Like even if you get someone, sir, kasi gano, like yung parang police, you try to hold them in the street na parang, oy, may violation ka, or any reason where you call them out. How many people do you know in your life that if you call them out, they will take accountability? They're like, nga. It's not, for me, I personally don't know a lot. And I value and respect the ones who are. Na parang if you call them out, na talang ganun, nakita nila na parang, nga. But if you look at it in the grand scheme of sa Filipino, as Filipinos, what's the percentage of people who truly take accountability for themselves? And I'm not saying that to pero isipin mo talaga, I see it kasi nakikita ko parang, wow. And I'm not just saying that I know in other countries, there are a lot of people in the world who don't take accountability for themselves. But tayo, as a country and as a people, I wouldn't say that's our strongest trait. We're loving, we're sweet, we're talented, we're creative, we're funny. We're resilient. We have a lot of those things. But to take responsibility and accountability, I don't know if that's really on the top of our list of strengths.
Priorities.
As a people, objectively lang ha.
Objectively. Dumadami talaga mga batang ama, mga single mothers or single fathers, sisira yung foundation ng family.
Saka yun yung nila, kumbaga yan yung parang reasoning nila na as much as possible, hanggang hindi pa sila yung totally na parang responsible sa action, ipapasa nila sa ibang tao or sa ibang mga bagay, sa mga
Anything
ibang
but
senaryo.
themselves to blame.
Kumbaga last resort na yung, sa akin pala to, sige sa akin na. Pero as much as possible, hindi nila ibabato sa sarili nila.
Pero ang daling gawin yun pag pag mahirap ang buhay mo or ang dami mong pinagdaanan, it's easy to do that and I sympathize. I can understand why someone would say, ganitong hirap ng buhay mo. Pero 'di ba, like even Cong said it so well, like kung successful ako kasalanan ko, hindi ako successful kasalanan ko. I think that's I absolutely agree with him. That's why Cong is one of those people that I really really respect as a creator. He's so consistent.
That's how we got there.
'Di ba? In trying to elevate and trying to share and trying to hindi talaga siya nagbago. Talagang even if how big the views, kasi as a creator, you can see a progression. Once you reach a certain level, madaling magbago because of the love of your community or the love of the people, or nawawala na kung ano ka, or parang na-redefine ka kasi vinalue mo na yung the views or the love of other people or validation. It's so easy to change, but Cong really didn't change in that sense. But sorry, going back to accountability. It's may ADHD siguro. It's really easy when your life is hard and I can understand kung bakit ang daming ang risk kung bakit hindi mo gusto mapupuntan. Pero kung kahit kaano pa mang kahirap ang buhay mo, nasa sayo pa rin like sino magre-respond, like objectively logic lang. Kung nandyan lang sa lugar ang isang tao, kung gusto nilang umalis, let's say, sabihin natin, hintayin nila na tutulungan sila and put that in probability sense. Out of 100 people who choose to wait for others to help them versus 100 people who choose to take accountability for themselves, and you do that study for 100 years, how many people out of those 100 would actually get to where they want to go? And how many people out of those other 100 to take responsibility for themselves will actually get to where they want to go? Diba?
It's like yung panagbigay ka lang sa mas mahirap ng instant cash compared sa they work for it. Yung ano yun, yung teach them how to fish.
Teach them how to fish and they don't go hungry. Oo nga, tama. Pero some people don't even want to fish.
In the first place.
They're like, I don't want to fish. I want to eat free. Diba? Ayoko. Ang hirap ng buhay. I don't want to fish. Ang hirap ng buhay ko. Ganito kasi ako Like, you know what I mean? That's, and we're rotating back to taking responsibility for yourself. That's why I always say it with the videos where I try to just talk about journey or talk about improving yourself or talk about growth. I don't really see it happening if you don't take responsibility for yourself. And even with me, I am guilty of blaming or using a crutch or using something that I went through. Ito kasi napagdaanan ko ng bata ako ganito to kasi ako ganito kasi ADHD. Oh my God, ADHD. I've used that as a crutch for years. Na parang, ganito kasi ako, I'm ADHD. Ano ngayon kung ADHD? Like, what's gonna happen? ADHD ka, and what are you gonna do? How are you gonna work with? How are you gonna respond to life?
Parang the conversation stops there. Parang pag ginamit mo na yung ano.
Yeah, it's like you can use anything. And again, it's easy to do. Pero yun talaga. Like, if going back, it's really taking responsibility for yourself. Like, that really is the end to that cycle of how do you call it, being a victim, diba? That's what it is, or blaming or using something else other than yourself to get out or to get where you want to go.
On a lighter note naman, pero in the same vein naman, what can you say kunyari sa mga lalaking nakakalbo and they lose their yung nagiging insecure sila sa looks nila? What can you say to give them some confidence or how to look at it? Kasi it's a very natural and wala sila magagawa dun.
Take responsibility for yourself. Joke lang. Nagpunta doon Parang Eri gets ko na pero parang iba naman. Parang no, sa nakakalbo, honestly for Kalbo Gama, one really nice thing that I really like to get, and I just posted about this a few days ago. I get people who go up to me like, "Oy, Eri like sobrang stress ako sa losing my hair, and I sobrang nakaka-anxious and they're like, pero because of itong kalbogama or hostisya or parang yung sinishare mo, yung ginagawa mo, medyo mas gumagaan yung ano ko doon. But the thing is, what I also understand is, ako for me, being bald, this is my best hairstyle. I even asked my wife, would you still go for me if I had my curly hair? Sabi niya, no. So I'm like, you wouldn't? No, I wouldn't. I'm like, so that's bald, yeah, we wouldn't be together if you had the hair. so for me, I know that this hairstyle works for me, but that doesn't necessarily reflect for other people, right? Like hindi naman, I can't say, oy, pare, you look good, pero hindi talaga, or they don't feel they look good, they're not ready to lose their hair. For me, there are many ways naman if you want to have hair, and there are many services out there that'll get you to get hair back again kung ayaw mo talaga. Kung ayaw mo, pwede ka mag-Svensson, pwede ka, may ganun. Ilang beses na nga akong mini-message na, Eri, gusto mo bang lagyan ng dots yung ano mo, yung ganun, ano yun, yung tinatatukang para bumaba yung hairline ko, di ba? Parang si LeBron James, di ba, nandito yung hairline, tapos biglang nandito mo lang, pinagsak mo yan. Ano ba yung LeBron? LeBron, binagsak mo yan. Oo. Ako lang kasi, if you look good naman, bald, natignan mo talaga proportion, yung ano mo, bagay naman, and all of those things, go bald, bro, ang saya. Diba? It's so presko.
When was the time in your life na na-realize mo na you're going bald? Of course, nung may hair ka pa, tas parang in denial ka ba? What was your reaction to it?
I shaved my head when I was like 18, 19, 20 actually. No, 21 siguro, bald na ako, best look ko. And everyone's saying, bagay, like look. So, kung bagay, I don't necessarily feel that I qualify for that. I really wanted kulot ako dati. Honestly, guys, versus kulot versus this. You saw me kulot, I'd be like, nga Eri, kalbo ko na lang. Like, hindi talaga, it's stressful. So, I would say, I don't feel qualified to be able to absolutely empathize with those who are losing their hair because I actually, sabi ko nga, hairstyle to eh. I chose this hairstyle. I even joke, I'm like, hoy, hairstyle to, hindi condition. I joke about it in the comments. If I were losing, wala, I never really went through it because I chose this hairstyle. Like, actually, I wanna lose everything na eh. Like, yung alam mo si Darak, ang linis ng pagkakalbo niya.
Okay sa kanya.
Pinopera ba din?
Keep mo si Darak. Hindi ko alam kung anong ginawa niya. Winax ba niya? Hindi ko alam eh. Like, ang linis ng pagkakalbo niya eh. So I was just like, I would love to have the rocks. If I meet him, I actually want to ask him, Rock, ba't ang linis ng shave mo? Wala akong nakikita. How do you do it? Like, so,
baka siguro may procedure or something.
Baka procedure and all of those things.
Kasi imposible naman kasi yung dati sa previous naman yun, sa wrestling pa siya, may buhok siya eh. So, tapos up to the point na bigla siya na skinhead na talaga eh. So, I think baka may procedure na ginawa sa kanya.
Training niya.
Pero for me to close that and to answer that properly, for those who are losing your and you're insecure, I mean, there are many ways to go about it. Are you the type na kung bagay naman sa'yo, then my God, go bald. Like, especially if you're friends or if you feel, uy, bagay naman bro, shave it all off, let it go. Ang saya kaya, it's so easy, so presko, ang sarap mag-scalp massage. It's the best. May benefits ka pa sa Kalbogama, we have monthly bonfire, diba? We get together, we have this community. Eventually, I'm actually curious how big it might get if I choose to push it.
Go!
Try na,
So many
Kalbogama dyan.
Tapos may official t-shirt. Tapos lahat na nagkalbogama. Alam mo that One Punch Man thing, lahat ng mga kalbo. I'm just like, that would be really fun to do. But if it looks good, great. If you don't, and you're in a position where you can afford to grow your hair, go for it. And to have a procedure where you grow it, then do that. Like, and there are a lot of people who have that and super bagay sa kanila. It just depends what it's on you. Like, if you're willing to accept that you're going bald, accept it muna. What are the solutions? Can you afford the solution to go bald? Can you afford growing hair? Great. Kung hindi, okay, then that's another thing that you have to figure out. Are you gonna go wear caps all the time? Or are you gonna just go bonnet or everything? Pero para sa akin, one thing is, if you're fit, like if you're kalbo and you're fit, like if you're physically fit, it makes kalbo look, actually being physically fit, like will look good in any hairstyle, but more so if you're kalbo, sobra. Like if you're kalbo and then you're fit, oh, diba, pang Vin Diesel ka or anything.
Lahat ng mga maangas, mga kalbo Breaking Bad, diba? Gusto Spring, si
Johnny.
Toretto,
and sabi nila, yung mga kalbo, if you lose hair, you actually have high testosterone levels. And according to surveys, apparently, like, you know, women like the bald look, like they're like there's a decent side of women that actually like the bald look if it suits you well. And if you want to use that energy where you're feeling anxious and insecure and you're like, oh, I'm going bald, if you want to use that as motivation to get fit and exercise or anything, all right, gamitin ko to. Oh, gito. So, diba, gamitin mo, diba, break kayo ng buhok nyo, di gamitin mong break up na yun sa to use that energy to something positive. Get fit, and then at least you lost your hair, but you got a new body.
Got them gains.
Pagpakalbo na nga tayo, guys.
Go, my baptism next week. Kalbin ko yung mga guys sa Pebbles eh. Oo.
Si The Pebbles, yeah.
Oo, yun, okay din yun. That was super good there. Pero yeah, Kalbo Gama has really kind of, man, I actually don't know what to do with it, if I'm being honest.
The power.
It's so, what do you do with it? Like if kayo, what would you do with it if you were like in charge of a Kalbo Gama? Anong gagawin nyo? Where would you take it?
Gagawin mo ba yung katulad nung kay Skype, yung meron ka ng altar, tapos meron ka headquarters?
Labo nun. Like, ako kasi, right now, Kalbo Gama, if I'm being honest, it's really the same joke over and over again. That's what Kalbo Gama is. That's the state of Kalbo Gama now. It's the same Kalbo joke over and over again. And if you're actually talking to me, if anyone feels it's a little bit tiresome, it's me.
Yeah, we were
Trust me. I know how a joke can be stretched. This joke is flexible. Gymnast na yung joke na to. Sobrang contortionist na yung joke na to.
May nag-message sa'yo sa IG yung pwede ka ba maging parang light reflector sa wedding?
Hey, those are really funny in the beginning, right? But you have to understand how much of those messages I get. Grabe, I've gotten every message in that sense. Grabe lahat. Pero I really respect the like gustong-gusto ko yung mga unique. Like alam mo when you get the comments, it's the same kasi, sir, nagsha-shampoo po kayo. Everything is like I appreciate the effort to comment, pero I've heard the same thing. So I have to get something different. Like what's the gusto ko yung this one. Sir, pag Earth Heart, pinapatay din ba kayo? That's so good. I was just like, okay, sige, that's unique. Yung mga unique na I really appreciate that because you have to be unique at this point since we've been doing it for like 2 to 3 years. Pero that's been my dilemma with Kalbo Gama. I actually shared this with Skate because Skate is a friend. I know we nagbardagulan kami on socials, but I actually respect very much what he does. And we align very much as creatives, as creators. I was telling him, if I build actually Kalbo Gama, kung ginawa ko talaga, it's just gonna be a group of people doing bald jokes. Like that's really the state. Diba? Hoy, shampoo, nagshampoo. Like, and for me, that's not enough to build a group, nor would I want a group like that. It has to be something more. It has to be elevated into something more. And honestly, it has to be different. And that's what I'm figuring out because I don't want a group who just does bald jokes. I don't think that's...
Mas malalim pa din.
And it has to give more value to people, or it has to be more value, but it has to be deeper than that. Because if you just do bald jokes and just make Kalbo Gama, that's just gonna die a very, very boring, like tired death. Like for me, it's not enough. Nor would I want to have a group like that. I don't want it. Like I'm just like hindi talaga. So that's why I've been saying Kalbugama, and I'm just like saying all of these things. But how do you grow it? Like how it has to be something more. If I don't figure it out, then I probably will stop doing it. If I do figure it out, then you'll see it for yourselves.
Yeah. In my experience, yung sa mga communities, it makes a brand and it lengthens your relevance as a brand din. For example, in my case, sa mga memes, when I react to memes, we just started as people who just like looking at memes.
Yes.
Tapos, ang aking naging turning point is we're looking at memes sa ibang bansa. We're looking at memes at here, dyan sa mga hindi naman tayo, di natin gets.
Yeah.
So, ang naging turning point is gumawa ako ng community sa Reddit, for example, nag-focus lang kami solely, I said to the admins na, ang ipasok nyo lang is mga creative jokes or memes or edits that's pertaining to the Philippines, relevant topics, trending topics, whichever.
Nice.
And we
Ang
can
galing ng
react to
Pilipino
this.
dun.
Yes.
Ang galing ng
Kalokohan,
Pilipino
magaling
dun.
talaga
My God, ang galing natin dun. Sobrang
Accountability.
Pwede naman
accountability medyo okay. Pero kalokohan, memes, we're at the top of the food chain, my God. Oo. Sobrang solid natin dun.
Regarding din pala doon sa since yung sa mga andun na tayo sa point na yung mga jokes mo is parang mostly is the same. Did you nagkaroon ka na ba ng time na napikon ka sa isang joke sa'yo? Or did it like hit you somewhere?
Kinakabahan ako pag may mga family pag may post ka with your family tapos naka-heart react, tapos kinakabahan ako, sabi ko sana wala namang Kalbo joke dito. Seryoso.
Yeah.
No,
Mga ganun
they
kasi.
will do it though. No, for me, I really just separate it from intent. What's the intention of this person commenting? That's how you separate it. If the intention is coming from a positive place, then why would I get kung gusto niyo matuwa or nagjo-joke siya like there's no reason to feel bad about it. And I've said this many times sa mga posts ko. I said, guys, I really di ako napipikon kasi it's about the intention. If it's more or less coming from a positive place, which is like 95% of the people commenting, why would I get angry or why would I get upset for something like that? It's coming from a positive place. But if it's coming from a place na disrespectful, bastos, malicious, you don't hear about them. You know why? Because they get blocked.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I think creators need to also, because we're responsible for our communities. You know how some creators, especially tayo dito, even like media outlets, nag-respond sa negative commenter or sa toxic na commenter and
It's
all becomes viral.
Yeah.
Or it becomes, kasi bobo ka eh. Parang ganun. Like, or like any sort of, obviously this person is toxic. This commenter is toxic. And the creator responded to them and, said it. For me, that's what people like that want.
Yeah.
Attention. Like if you kasi respond to those type of people, and this is just me, this is my principle with more and more will come. Uy, pinansin tayo dito.
Madali pala to sumagot.
Uy, sumasagot tayo. Uy, na-highlight tayo. Uy, nag-viral tayo dahil sa people like that who are obviously going through some sort of pain or is going through something, and I can empathize with them, but I will not tolerate them. Like I can empathize with you, but I don't have to tolerate you, and I don't have
accountability.
And I don't have. I'm accountable for my community, like how my community is. You notice the comments? Are there any bastos or really like off na Look at the comments. No, because I've took it upon myself to set the culture and the values of our community because it's my responsibility.
Yeah.
So I don't highlight those toxic ones, nor do you say I make examples of them. Na parang guys, kung ganito kayo, that's the only time I highlight them to make an example of them. Kung ganito kayo, guys, sorry, you'll just get blocked. Wala kayong makukuha dito. Like you won't get attention here. But look at the creators that respond to negative comments. Look at the creators, Look at it yourself. Like all the creators who actually answer back, which is entertaining and really satisfying na talagang na dinunk mo yung toxic na taong yon. And it's entertaining to watch. But look at the comments. See if you can see toxic comments in that creators community. So again, it's all in all coming back to we're responsible for setting the values and culture of our communities. If you respond to people like that, you're also giving them power. You're highlighting them.
Your attention,
Yeah, you're giving them and that's what they want, honestly. And they're probably going through something. They're probably going through some sort of pain and feel that since they're hurt, I can hurt other people as well. You know? So, yun lang. For me, to answer your question, if it's coming from a positive place, no, I don't get offended. If they are disrespectful or malicious and they say something na sobrang, oy, off yan ha, I'll respond once maybe if it takes responding. But more or less, if it's super like mine, that's just a toxic comment, they get blocked. You don't hear from them.
Naalala ko dito, napanood mo na, Eri, yung Vinland Saga?
I love it. My God.
Yes.
Season 1, Season 2.
Yes!
Ako na lang nakakalood.
Both, you need both.
Vinland Saga, oh my God.
You need both.
Let me say this now. For those who are saying that made fun of it, that it's farming saga, no, Vinland Saga Season 2 is so much better than Season 1. Yung storytelling, my God, pacing, character development. If you wanna see masterful storytelling, Vinland Saga Season 2. Me and my wife love it. We just finished it a few days ago. And my favorite episode, the father, yung dad, yung asawa ni Arnheid ba yun?
Yes.
Where
yes,
dun talaga ako butch yung
Yeah.
tapos that's a that, and my wife said it herself, that's an episode for fathers. Like that's an episode for fathers. Like it's in the perspective of a father. Naiyak ako doon. Yeah, Vinland Saga Season 2, but you were saying, sorry, you were using it as an example?
Yeah. As an example, relating dun sa mga na-share mong words of, mga nuggets of wisdom about taking accountability, message to the masculine community, di ba? Parang, that is a mark of a true man. Alala ko lang bigla Vinland Saga. I have no enemies.
Ito na talaga ang cue ko. Panoorin ko na talaga. Pasadahan ko na yung...
Dahil ko na sinasabi sa'yo.
Hindi ko manapapa. Kasi currently kasi pinapanood ko ngayon yung Oshinoko and...
Okay ba siya?
Oshinoko maganda. For me, kasi... Hindi naman siguro spoiler sasabihin ko. For me kasi, tinataka niya parang yung mga entertainment industry. So
like
parang yung
the dark side of the entertainment industry.
So, for me,
maybe me and my wife will watch it sometime. I also recently watched Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai.
yes!
Shit.
Mga emotional anime.
Grabe yung writers. I'm like, anong ginawa ko sa'yo, writer? Grabe, pinaya ko.
Sila sa trabaho sa Japan eh.
Nandun na ako parang... Nandun na ako sa gilid, nag-host ako, tapos nandito ako sa gilid, tapos nandun yung mga videographer and like my co-suppliers. Doon na ako tapos umiyak. Pero okay ka lang ba hindi? May pinapanood akong anime, sobrang ganda. Tapos ang tanga, nandun sa gilid. Kasi may downtime eh. Man, it was so good. But yeah, I mean, just one thing I just wanted to just respond to. You said like to the masculine community or all of those things. I don't think accountability is just for masculine people. It's for anyone. It's for women, it's for men, it's for just to accountability, like, you know, it's not a sign. I know a lot of people that are men, alpha men who don't take accountability. Like they don't have it. Accountability is for everyone. It's not just for a man, it's for women, it's for anyone. It can even be for a child. You can see a child who takes accountability for themselves. Accountability is accountability, period. Like it doesn't have to fall into a certain type of person to be that way. Like, so, yeah, I just wanted to clear that up because syempre people are listening. Accountability is for everyone.
Kasi himayin nila eh. Sasabihin na, puro pang lalaki lang. Ba't wala yung pambabae?
No nga, exactly. No, I just wanted to clear that up kasi baka it might be taken out of the context.
Naalala ko lang kasi yung question about advice sa mga, kasi mental health month ng men. So naalala ko lang sa question doon kaya nasabi ko yun.
Oh, well, yeah, I get it. Oh, I just wanted to clear it up for someone who might take it out of context. At least we've been able to address it. Oh, marami. They'll take that, diba?
Okay.
Oh, sasagot. So ano yung masculine man? Sige, define mo nga para sa akin. ABC.
Parang iba tayo
parang you know what I mean? But yeah, again, accountability is for anyone.
Mga alpha male kuno. Naalala ko lang, sabi kasi ni Eri yung alpha male. Tapos meron kasi mga ibang lalaki na ang measure nila of their masculinity is how many girls they pick up.
Ay, oo, lagi. Laging ganun ang definition nila.
Kasi may academy pa nga yun eh. Hindi ko na lang sasabihin kung ano pangalan. Parang,
Yeah.
diba?
Well, that's one kind of person. That's one kind of man. Again, there are no. I don't think there is the results of your decisions, right? There's not really. It's hard to say right and wrong. There's just really. I mean, right and wrong. If someone's getting hurt naturally, then or someone is unjustifiably being hurt, then maybe it's easier to go right and wrong. But for me, there's so much context to many different types of situations. People who live that way live a certain type of life, see women a certain way. For me personally, it's not the kind of life I personally want. And objectively, I don't know if I personally would be happy looking at it that way. Like body count, diba? Or all of those things. If you jump from one woman to another, can you really nurture a deep connection, or can you nurture a relationship? And it also reflects on how you view relationships. And I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm saying that it leads to a certain type of life. What do you want? If that's the kind of life of want, you just want to jump from one relationship or one fling to another, that's up to you. But it will result in a certain type of life, and it will result in you becoming a certain type of person. And I think that's the thing with it's always so healthy to look at things objectively. Parang just look at things for how they are and decide for yourself where you stand with those things. It's so easy. I'm offended. I'm emotionally affected by that. But to be emotionally affected by something means that a lot of other things besides yourself has power over you. Diba? I think neutrality, and my wife have been talking about this. We really are striving to be neutral. Just be objective. I think that is such a superpower that not a lot of people, I think the most successful people, or the ones who really are able to reach very certain places or just achieve happiness, like really just are in the middle. They're really neutral.
You can see the whole horizon.
They're here to say that you don't feel emotions, but feel emotions. You choose how to feel your emotions and how far you want to feel them. They don't take you. Hindi ka nadadala.
Yeah.
Pag nadadala ka na kasi sa emosyon.
May Zen mo.
No, I'm just saying, but that's the truth. Like, if emotions take you somewhere where you don't want to be, that means emotions still have power over you. You know what I mean? So anyone who might trigger those emotions, or anyone or anything, madadala ka. Next thing you know, napunta ka sa lugar na hindi mo pupuntahan. So I don't think you necessarily have power over yourself if you're not neutral and you are not objective about things. I think it's such a undervalued trait for anyone to have.
Very stoic.
Not stoic.
Would you say is that stoic?
Not stoic. No. I'm not saying that stoic. I'm just saying neutral. You're just in the middle. You're in the moment. Whatever is here in front of you is what it is. That's it. Like if there's someone, if I watch Vinland Saga, I cry my ass out. I choose to cry my ass out because it's so emotional for me. But if it handles me and get emotional, and next you know, nadadala ka na sa emotion, and you're in this like, alam mo, daddy ko dati, I mean, next thing you know, like you let it take you further than where you want to take you, then that's different. Like it's a slightly complicated thing to try to explain. Either the emotion takes control over you. Iba kasi if you're choosing to feel how much emotion you want to feel, and then okay, that's great. Versus the emotion taking you anywhere. Yung nadadala sa emotion, you know what I mean? Nadadala. Have you ever tried talking to someone na nadadala ng emotion? Or fighting with someone na nadadala ng emotion?
Ay, maraming cases.
Control.
Can you, but imagine that in life, like every one thing to another is just emotion taking you from one checkpoint to another. Next thing you know, saan ka na? Like, nasan ka na? Like, where can you make, like, you know, where are you? Really resorting back to, like, being objective.
Being objective. Naalala ko, meron akong co-worker na nagkaroon kami ng miscommunication. Tapos, in-open up niya sa akin nung dalawa na lang kami sa elevator going down. And then yun na, lumabas na yung emotion niya. na napakita na yung totoong totoong mukha behind the mask, na parang may nilabas siyang galit sa akin kasi meron miscommunication na hindi ko na communicate ng maaga, pero it could be, I mean, madali naman masolusyonan kasi na-meet naman yung deadline, mga ganun. Pero nandun na yung sa point na sinakyan niya na yung emotion, nag-swimming na siya dun sa agos.
Wala na. Oo.
So, habang naglalakad kami on the way back to the office, para kaming couple na
nag-aaway, nag-LQ.
Naglalakad kami sa BGC, tapos sumisigaw siya sa mukha ko. Tapos parang ako naglalakad na, parang pinapakalma ko na muna bago ako mag-reply. Diba? Kasi parang, ang hirap makipagsabayan sa galit na kasi ba't ako magagalit? Alam ko naman yung side ko and gusto ko malaman mo yung side ko, and then I will hear you out then, diba?
Yeah, but imagine kung sinakyan mo din, mag-swimming ka din, swimming kayong dalawa. Next thing you know, nasan na kayo? Nasa Batangas na kayo. Uy, laiya na to Teka lang, like you're in a place where you might not necessarily, and you might not even want to be there. You're like, oh, I don't even want to be. Why am I here? Yeah. Like, kung saan ka na nadala ng emosyon. So, I wouldn't say stoic or killing your emotions, isn't it? It's like we all feel emotions. We're emotional people. Pero, kung hindi, if you don't take control of it and manage it yourself, or take it upon yourself to manage yourself, it's not about taking responsibility for yourself. Where will those emotions take you? Not to say you can't feel them. You can feel them to however you want to feel them. But to let the emotions take you, like parang, diba, define you. Na-define ka na ng emotion, and you might be doing things you might not want to do anymore.
Sinig kayo dyan.
Sa panahon pa kayo na mabilis kumalat yung mga videos, mga ganyan-ganyan, parang pag naging emotional kami, masabi kang hindi mo namang gusto talaga sabihin. Wala na, recorded na, as in wala na, nakakala sa buong mundo. So ang hirap
parang emotion,
di mo naman sinasadya kasi hindi ka naman ganun tao, pero syempre nadala ka na, kumbaga para nagpatong-patong, ganyan-ganyan.
Yeah, kasi yung ibang tao, yung solusyon nila sa pagiging emotional is to not have emotion. So nakita ko na it is an unhealthy degree of managing your emotions. You can
that's
still
super,
have it.
that's just as bad, I think, as letting yourself and choosing to not feel anything. Because if you choose not to feel one thing, you choose as well not to feel any other thing that might. Because if you kill one emotion, you definitely, there's a domino effect of killing all your other emotions. And I know how that feels for sure. I've been through that. I've been through that where you repress and you kill certain, so parang manhid ka na, but you can't feel anything. It's an empty life. It's an empty way of being, or you try to numb yourself with things. But again, we're rotating back to the moment I said, man, if I get out of this, it's on me. If I fall deeper into this, it's on me. Like, and I'm saying this coming from going through it and feeling the difference of someone who lets themselves be taken from emotion and lets themselves tries to kill emotion. And I've been through those two places. And honestly, I don't think either one is healthy. Sa gitna.
Inisip ko lang on perspective siguro sa ibang mga manonood. Paano naman kung ganun ka mag-decide, yung parang hindi naman repress, parang kontrolado yung emotion. Iisipin ng mga tao na, so parang hindi na ako sa sarili ko, parang hindi ko na ini-express yung sarili ko as the way I should be. Parang ganun. Parang iisipin ng tao, ganun ba? Yung parang
what's the definition of the way I should be? Like emotional?
Yung parang kumbaga pag hindi ko bring up yung emotion ko, kunyari parang ito galit ako sa ganitong nangyaring senaryo, pero bilang kailangan kong parang i-repress yung emotion ko, hindi ako magagalit, pero sa ganitong senaryo galit ako.
Let's try to see how that conversation would pan out, ha? Let's try to illustrate the difference. Like kunwari tayo nag-away tayo, right? Sobrang galit ako sa'yo. Like for me, someone who is angry talaga and lets themselves alam mo, pare, maling ginawa mo talagang sobrang bad trip. Tangina mo, like alam mo, wala kang kwentang tao, kupal ka, wala kang kwenta, galit na galit ako sa'yo. Like, and next thing you know, it just becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Versus, I would say, someone who is upset but is still in control. For me, how I would say, listen, and you'll see anger in my eyes. It's different kasi if you express anger and if you let anger take over you. Those are two very different things. Expressing anger, I think it's healthy because you shouldn't take shit, diba? But letting anger take over you, and next thing you do one thing after another. Those are two very different things. If I say, listen pare, ito yung ginawa mo. Honestly bro, galit na galit ako sa'yo. Alright, like what you did was foul. It was unacceptable. It was something that I personally are absolutely shocked by how you did that. I don't know kung bakit mo ginawa yun. If you can explain to me kung bakit mo ginawa yun, ba't mo ginawa yun? And then you try to understand why someone did something that upset you so much. And then you try to understand. For me, do you see the difference? Someone who is in control and is angry versus someone who lets anger take. Listen, I'm not saying this is how you're supposed to be, huh? I'm just saying there are results and there are effects to decisions of how you let emotions affect yourself, or there's just there are effects to decisions. If you make the decision to let anger take over you, these are the possible effects. If you're the type who is angry but you express it in a healthy way and you let that person know that what they did was not right, these are the type of scenarios that will come from that. I'm not telling you to be one way or I'm not telling you to be another. I'm telling you that being one way will result into certain things and being another way will result into another things. I'm not the type of person that says, and dapat ganito ka, dapat ganito ka, dapat.
Yes.
I don't think that's healthy, nor would I want to be that type of person. You're telling me to be a certain way? No. I'm simply highlighting the results of decisions. So, yun lang. For me, you're saying, so I shouldn't be, hindi ko na ma-express ang sarili ko. Who says that you can't express yourself and be objective and calm and in control at the same time? It's not hindi yan mutually exclusive. Diba? Diba? You're saying kasi, hindi na ako magiging ako. Hindi, ikaw pa rin yun. Hindi ka lang madadala sa galit mo. Ako ang type of person na nadala sa galit. Do you? Then madala ka sa galit. Kung ganyan ka, go. Then go. Ako to, nadadala ako sa galit. Ganyan ako. If you wanna be that type of person, then go. Let your anger trigger you and take you to places you wanna go. Go to Baguio, go to Ifugao, go to Sultan Kudarat. Let it take you to places where you feel the anger will take you. But again, yun lang. It's just it's on people how they wanna choose.
Yes.
If that answers your question, ha?
Yes, tama nga naman. Kasi baka naman kasi sabihin ng mga viewers, dapat ito lang talaga dapat kong gawin. Hindi. Kumbaga parang option lang siya. Hindi naman necessarily, yun na, right and wrong. Or, ayun na, tapos na yun na, kung may na-explain mo nga na ito yung mga possibilities pag ito yung ginawa mo, ito rin yung mga possibilities kapag ito yung ginawa mo. Yeah,
anong gusto mo? Nasa sa'yo yan. At sino ka dun? Sino ka? Anong klaseng taong gusto mong maging? Diba? Just because you express anger and you're angry doesn't mean that you still can't be in control of yourself. Like, hindi siya mutually exclusive. Hindi, pag galit ka, dapat nadadala ka. Dapat, diba, sinisipa mong kahit sino dyan. Dapat, diba, bardagulan, walang rambulan pag galit.
Kailangan sumisipa, dado mo, ganyan.
Dapat ganyan, sumisigaw ka, dapat werewolf ka, mag-transform ka. QB mode, yan ang galit.
Have you ever been in a fist fight na parang hindi mo na na-mitigate yung galit ng isang tao na galit sa'yo? Tapos parang siguro nauna siya ganun.
Yeah.
Wala lang, curious lang.
Kumbaga, syempre, hindi mo naman kontrolado yung emosyon ng other party. So, paano yung ganung scenario?
How was I ever in a fist fight na sobrang galit na?
Or kahit hindi fist fight, maybe
violent. Like for example, other party or the other person yung nag-initiate ng fight, hindi ikaw. Kasi kumbaga sa'yo kontrolado mo sarili mo, pero hindi mo naman kontrolado yung the other person. Naka-experience ka na daw ba ng ganun?
Yes, there was this recent a few years ago where it was this public rant. There was a public rant about me as a host by sister of the groom, I think. There were certain things that were justified. There were things that were not. And I responded to it publicly. I can link you guys up to it and everything so you can see how I responded. And I was furious. I was so angry. Because I'm like, how could you ruin my reputation that I've worked so hard for? This affects my livelihood now. If anyone should be angry, it's me. But I tried my best to regulate myself and to be balanced and try to respond to this in a calm, professional manner. But I was angry. My God. I was ready to sue. I was, because that's libel. That's cyber libel. Yes. And I was talking to my lawyer what I could do and what I couldn't know. So I addressed it. That for me is an example of being calm in regards to a situation. And I was getting responses from comments about saying, hey, ganito ka kasi. And I can see that the response to me is emotional. I'm like, listen, if you want to respond that way, the reason I'm responding to this is because I was unjustifiably attacked. There were certain things na naintindihan kung bakit siya galit. Yes, mali. Yes, mali yun. Yes, nasa akin yun. Yes, mali ako dun. I highlighted it point by point. But that's what I did. I highlighted every point that this person made. I highlighted everything. And you can't do that if you're angry.
Yeah.
And for me, I personally, it ended positively, I would say, because we're able to take down the post and I was able to protect my credibility. I did make certain mistakes there. Absolutely. I took accountability for it. But there were other things na parang sobrang foul. I'm like, dude, this is not right anymore and this is not fair. This is taken out of context. This is blown out of proportion. This was online. And for me, I think a fist fight is probably less damaging to your career than that. That was for me. You can heal from that. I got my ass kicked. I can heal from that. Maybe just, all right, you understand why the fist fight happened and ganito, and just try to But that, it's hard for your livelihood, your credibility, your professional credibility gets affected, bro. That can be very hard to recover from. So that for me is, but if I responded in kind, in terms of emotion as well, and said things, that's what happens kasi kung nadadala ka ng emotion, you blow things out of proportion. Diba? So hindi na ikaw. Yeah. It's not what it is anymore. It becomes slightly bigger or even so much bigger than what it actually was. Objectivity, diba? Neutral. Like, look at things for what they are. If I responded in kind, I probably would have, my God, I don't know what I could have said. But for me, yun, that was, people saw that. My community was part of it. I really wish it didn't have to happen that way.
Ito na yung very essence ng Kalbo game. This is what could be talked about, di ba? Ito na yung sustainability approach.
Kalbo gama, how do you connect it to being bold though? Like parang, di ba? Mga kalbo neutral, mga ganun. I'm just like, I don't know, man.
Yung mga tao pag nagagalit, kinagano na yung buhok eh.
Hindi, ginaganon. Pare, ibig sabihin, pag wala kang mahilang buhok, hindi ka magagalit, diba? I don't know how to do it. Di ko alam. Pero, yeah, man, I mean, that for me, I think is definitely an example of still being in control, still managing yourself, and being furious. I was raging. I was fucking upset.
Let's say, going on a lighter note.
Best.
On a light, what are your other hobbies and interests aside from gaming and basketball na ginagawa mo na hindi alam ng community?
Ako, hobbies.
Like if you are upset, you go to a shooting range, baril-baril ka ng target, or
Hindi naman, oo. Grabe yung ano natin, no? Talagang, uy, Kalbo Gama, memes yun. No? Saya siguro ng conversation to. Lahat ang bigat, ang deep.
Mas maganda yun.
No,
Yeah.
no, but that's how it,
Solid.
that's how the conversation led.
Yeah.
For me, what do I love eating. I
Oh,
love eating, bro. Grabe, gusto ko kumain. I love eating. My wife will tell you she loves that I eat. She cooks everything. Eating, bro. So I love food. My
Is there a
God,
meal
I'll
you'd
eat
like to eat every day?
all the good
You can only
stuff.
eat one,
All the
kind
good
of
stuff that are bad for you. I would love to eat everything. Pero gusto ko lang, ayaw ko lang, gusto ko lang mabuhay for my son. So, no,
May limit na ulit.
the best. Oh my God. Ano ba yung masarap? Ngayon, anong gusto kong kainin?
oh my God, na-crave ako.
Natututo rin ako,
Ako na.
Ano ba?
Pag-dinner na din.
Oo, kaya ako rin.
Yung sobrang makapal na pizza. Alam mo yung ano yung masarap kasi na pizza dati sa BGC, yung parang New York style pizza na sobrang Alam mo yung Sbarro's, yung deep
Sbarro's,
dish
Gino?
pizza, yung deep dish, deep dish,
Ganun kakapal nga.
deep
Yeah.
dish pizza, yung ganun, yung parang tapos kainin mo yun ng buong buo. Tapos you shower it with soda or something na alam mo yung rinse
Yeah.
yung parang nakain mo yun tapos you rinse it with soda tapos you get this sugar spike. Yun I would love to eat that right now but I can't. My diet currently doesn't let me do it. But I was 230 pounds. I was really heavy before. I was huge, dude. Sobra. I love food. I can go back again. I can do it. I can go 250 lang. I'll go past my limit. Super Saiyan 3 ko, Super Saiyan 5 ko yung weight ko dati. Kung 3 yun, kaya kong i-5. And I'd enjoy it because I love food so much. But again, I love food. I love eating. Nung nasa Japan kami, alam mo yung umiikot ko lang sa kinakain mo ng lahat. Parang 7-Eleven, lahat masarap. Kainin mo lang yung food. Almost done, baby. Don't worry. Food. I love food. I actually like cooking as well. Sometimes. Just for my family, kung pwede lang magluto na kahit anong gusto mong kainin. Ano mo yung maghalo-halo? Have you ever tried? Alam mo yung nori, yung crispy nori, yung roasted seaweed. Lagyan mo ng kanin, lagyan mo ng egg, lagyan mo ng spam, yung spam shit. Spam, tapos yung masarap na soy sauce. Di ba tayo nagugutom? Bro, I could do this for hours. All different types of food.
Pag may studio pag naayos na yung studio, food
Basta
trip.
bro,
We'll have all the trays of eggs.
Oo. Tapos yung Taco Bell, yung Crunch Wrap, yun ang masarap lately na. Have you tried the Taco Bell Crunch Wrap?
Di pa.
Wait, you've never tried. Hindi mo ba
sa Taco Bell
hindi mo napanood yung Vinland season 2 at hindi mo na try yung Taco Bell Crunch. Pare, kailangan mong mabuhay. Wait, no. Taco Bell Crunch Wrap.
So ang gawin mo, habang nanonood ka ng season 2, kumain ka ng Taco Bell.
Ng Taco Bell.
Pagsabay mo.
Order ako. Mag-take out ako ng Taco Bell.
Bro, and you can get it through Grab. Taco Bell Crunch Wrap shit. But it's better if it's fresh kasi you get to buy it crunchy. Pucha.
Ay, oo, tama nga. Dapat
Diba. Sa ano yun? Sa Mega Mall meron.
Okay.
Yun, I love food, man. Like, food is like, yun talaga yung trip ko.
May napansin ka ba sa eating habits mo na compared nung 250 pounds ka before to now? Kasi parang yun yung struggle. Yun yung personally nagsa-struggle din ako ngayon na
I was emotional. Yeah, emotional. It's emotional eating.
Emotional eating.
Yeah. That for me was my main thing. Food was my sanctuary. Food was my way to make myself feel better. Talaga. I would say I was an emotional eater for sure. I still sometimes am. So for me, it's about your relationship with food. I would say you have to try to understand ano yung relationship mo sa food. What is food for you? If food for you is a source of relief from stress or Ganun. So every time you're stressed, you'll eat, right? So you have to understand, ano ba yung relationship ko sa pagkain? Is it healthy? Is it unhealthy? Is it balanced? Not to say that you shouldn't enjoy food, but if it goes past the limit of what you usually burn, then naturally, diba? Yun talaga. But who's gonna, again, it all comes back to accountability, right? Who's gonna redefine that relationship with food? Ang sarap kayang kumain, it's so easy. Di mo yung nagugutom ka, tapos ang sakit ng tiyan mo, tapos gusto mong kumain, you wanna do it, and you're just like, "De, kain tayo," then you eat. Alam mo yung sobrang laking bag ng Lay's? Diba? Di ba tayo na nga, yung sobrang laking bag ng Lay's, tapos one bite, shit, yung sobrang bago, yung sobrang bango. Tapos you eat, you're just like, ang sarap. The next thing you know, you do the next level, kumuha ka ng marami.
Sabay-sabay.
Tapos tapos you hear the crunch, and you're just like, gumanon yung mga mata mo. Like, dude, like, I love food, but again, everything in moderation, right? Again, emotions. Like, that's a perfect example of letting your emotions take yourself to places you might not necessarily want to go. Like, if you handle your emotions this way and you let it take you, but if you stop kasi being objective kasi and seeing things for as they are. Okay, what am I feeling? Okay, I'm upset. What do you want to do? I really want to eat. I would love a whole chocolate cake from Mary Grace. Kainin ko lahat yun. Like with my hands. I want to do that. Why are you doing it? Because you're stressed. Why? Because of this. Okay. What's gonna happen if I eat? Okay, you're gonna feel good for the first 30 minutes because you're gonna eat everything. How are you gonna feel after? Bad. What do you wanna do? Do you wanna feel good for the first 30 minutes or you wanna feel bad for the next 5 days?
Ganun nga. Shit.
And you're just like,
Ganun nga.
yeah, but what do you wanna do? Like what do you wanna do? And then you're just like, I wanna feel good for the first 30 minutes. But at least you're aware. Oh, I know what I did it. But at least you slowly give yourself power. Like you give yourself power to respond and not react. You know what I mean? Because a response versus a reactions are two different things. Diba? I would say reactions are more like instinctive and emotional.
Jerk.
Jerk. Responses is like you've given it some thought. There's some control and there's some management behind the response. Depends. And again, if you want to be an emotional eater, that's fine. That's on you. But if it leads to this type of but if you want to take a step back and maybe manage it and redefine your relationship with food, then it will lead to these sort of scenarios in your life. I wouldn't say there's a right or wrong. It's just effects of your decisions.
Ang ganda na na-apply natin yung first topic sa lahat ng topics natin. It's how foolproof it is.
Like I said, and you're asking me advice for anyone. Taking responsibility for yourself, man.
Ito na yung trial phase ng Kalbo Gama.
Ito na ba yun? Ito ba yun?
Ito na eh.
Ang hirap. Naging retreat tapos umiyak kami. As we go on, vitamin C, ano to graduation? We remember. Nag-graduate ka na sa dati mong buhay. Iyak na.
Parang matagal na yun,
Labo. Oo.
Lalayuan na kami sa graduation namin eh.
No, but yeah, man. I mean, those are personally, again, they're my own principles, and these are what I choose to value. And I personally am happy that I'm slowly getting more control. Because if you're ADHD, bro, you're impulsive, man. It's so easy to be impulsive. What am I gonna do? I'm just, ADHD, I'll be impulsive. Bili tayong 6 na sapatos, and you see the results of my impulse, like with buying shoes or all of those things. Trust me, these are not just things na I'm gonna buy 6 shoes. No, I can get obsessive. Paano kaya itong shoe versus this shoe? Ganun ako. This shoe versus that shoe. Paano ko malalaman? Bilhin ko yan. Sige. Tapos nagra-run ako. Ako nag-Japan. You know what I did before Japan? I walked around with all my nirang ko yan, top 6. With my most comfortable shoes. Naglakad ako na may bag. Kasi may bag. Kailangan may bag. Kasi I'm walking with a backpack. Lakad ako for like, di ba, honey, I walked for 2 hours outside. Lakad ako dyan with different shoes. So mukha akong tanga. Pang with my neighbors. Ba't si Eri naglalakad with his backpack? Pero paiba-iba yung sapatos. Anong problema? Mukha akong may problema. Tapos naglalakad ako to feel the difference with what's the most comfortable shoe. I'm like, lakad ako. Like, okay. Kasi kung di comfortable yung shoes mo when you're traveling, it really gets in the way of the experience. Have you ever tried walking with uncomfortable shoes? Wala, hindi mo ma-enjoy yung country na yun. I learned from my past mistakes, but I can get a little bit obsessive like that na parang,
ito ba yung parang madudulas ka sa bola?
Pero yun. I mean, yeah, man. I mean, those are just examples, but it feels really good to be in control of where you possibly want to go. You know what I mean? It's a great feeling, and I would love for more people to get to. Not to say that they don't, but for those who are used to letting their impulses and letting their emotions take over them, I would love for them to be able to feel the difference. Because it's amazing. Because I was like that. I let my emotions get the best of me. My wife knows that. She's amazing to be able to be, to take those times.
Sobrang off topic tong ko eh.
Go lang.
Kasi tawag dito? Ewan ko, medyo lang to. Una kasi kitang nakita talaga sa sa dati pa, sa set ng Bubblegum talaga. Sobrang asin simula nung doon ko pa lang sa background nila, Ogie. Up to the point na paunti-unti ka nagsasalita. Tapos to the point na yung natutuwang part ako doon sa'yo, yung kaaway mo na si Antonio, yung magsisigawan na kayo. Kasi parang, for me, yung habang pinapanood ko yun, talaga pinapanood ko siya every Friday night. Yung live na live pinapanood. Parang every week, parang bangayan kayo ng bangayan ni Antonio. Parang feel ko na yung galit niya.
May progression. May progression yun eh. Tapos si Pushback, si Dos, di ba nilagyan pa ako ng ng attire and all of those things. Yeah, that was a progression of that. Pero for me, for those things, I actually suggested those things to it started with those. They did something na pinigilan ako. And where did it start? Did it start with the summer special? I'm not sure. Pero I was just saying it was really funny kasi when they tried to stop me from yelling. And that's coming from, because if you look at Boy Pickup in the sketch as it is, because I was the writer for it as well. Like I was writing and we were doing the episodes. It's the same joke.
Yes.
It's the same joke. It's set up. Boy Pickup has a super labo then the structure of the joke is the same. If you did it the same way, kasi mapapagod na din yung tao. I'm like, wala na yung effect. The first thing, wala. So those things happening, yung si Tonyo and si Pushback or all of those other things na that's great. Like that's a progression. It's growing. And that's what you need for something like that. Like episodes, diba? Vinland Saga, it had to grow. If we're still in the war arc, my God, pagod na po. Look at Dragon Ball. It was away.
Aga sa Dragon Ball.
Hanggang away, like, so lakas na naman na kalaban, no? Power, muntikan tayo mamatay. Power up. Diba? It's like, is there progression? Goku is essentially the same person for the longest time. The best time for me, what Dragon Ball can really be at its best with proper storytelling was Dragon Ball Broly.
Broly.
The movie. Have you seen it? Have you seen it? That's when the characters had layers. That's when I can see, oh my God, the execution of this Dragon Ball is so unlike what I'm used to. And not to say Dragon Ball Z and all of those things, those were great, huh? Like, but it's really just like boss fight after boss fight after boss fight. Yeah, it was great. It's action. It's just fighting. It's like, no progression, no character development. It's just mindless fighting. All right, let's fight. But to really get to know, that's the first time. Have you seen Dragon Ball Broly?
Yeah. Yung nagkaroon siya ng talagang parang story na parang yung
control niya.
Pero parang yung tatay ni Vegeta ata or tatay mismo ni Broly, yung kasama niya.
There was actual character list. My favorite thing was Frieza trying to be a little bit taller. Like for me, where do you get that's
Diba,
a
mga
character
ganun.
trait? Like when have
The
you ever
layers.
seen Frieza? Like he wanted to wish from the Dragon Balls to be a little bit taller. Not super tall kasi sobrang obvious. Just a little. I'm just like, that is so brilliant. I love like those little arcs na ganon.
Yes.
Parang si Cooler eh.
Oh, that was great. Like, yeah.
Do you have like, or can you share us your top 5 anime? No?
Yeah.
This is a good one. My
Top
God.
five.
Shit. Naruto.
Yes.
Okay.
Ah, wait.
Naruto.
Is this in order?
This is in order.
Yes.
Order. This is in order.
Okay.
Naruto is number 1. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Brotherhood.
Good.
Nice.
Because that was the anime that got my wife into anime. That was the anime that really got my wife converted. Because my wife kasi dati, she didn't watch it, but she didn't watch anime at all. But when it was Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, I remember her doing di ba honey, you were doing transmutation circles? She was doing transmutation. Gumanon na siya. And there's a difference kasi when your partner, ako for me as an anime fan growing up watching anime, when you see your partner actually loving it genuinely, iba din kasi yung parang they love it because you love it. And you appreciate that in itself kasi they're making an effort to try to also love what you like, but they don't necessarily love it for themselves. But when I saw my wife nagpa-transmutation, I'm just like, you actually really like this too? She's like, I love it. And then she watched it, you remember? You almost succeeded now. You were gonna send me to another world, no, but we should try again. But you don't want to try. You want to do that kasi I don't want to go somewhere else. Okay. No, but when I saw her actually do it, oh my god, I was like, you love anime? You're liking it? I'm like, she loved it. That made me so happy. I'm like, papakasalan ko to. This is no, but she loves it, and she even wrote fan fiction. She started writing like mas hardcore pa sa akin, bro. Like she was hardcore, like writing fan fiction, and I read some of it. It's actually really good. Like she's really good fanfic. So okay, Naruto, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Mga may significant impact sa buhay mo na mga ano.
It has to be something that hits an impact. Ghost Fighter. Ghost Fighter. We have to hit kasi Ghost Fighter kasi affected me in childhood more than Dragon Ball did. I watched Dragon Ball when Goku was a kid, 'di ba? Yung nandun pa yung Dragon Ball, yung Red Ribbon Army, all of those things. But nothing quite emotionally hit me as Ghost Fighter. Oo, yun talaga yung 90s. Pare, kung 90s kid ka, pinanood mo yung Ghost Fighter. Hindi Yu Yu Hakusho. You know, it came out in Channel 13 first, but it became big in Channel 7. It came out in Channel 13. Channel 13 dati yun, IBC. Nilalabas na yun, pero hindi natin pinansin. Sumabog siya sa sa GMA. Mamodya ko pag alas 5. Modya ko.
Naalala ko si Modya.
Yaiba. I love Yaiba. Yaiba was so good. But anyway, so Yu Yu Hakusho. Okay, so we're at Naruto. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Yu Yu Hakusho.
Ayaw mo top 3 so top 5 dyan eh.
Kaya ka pinahirapan mo siya.
Haikyuu.
Ay, Haikyuu. Ay, thank you.
Mas more.
Haikyuu.
Solid. So, hindi ko akalain din matuwa ako dun eh.
Haikyuu. And Death Note.
Yes.
Yes.
Philosophy, morality.
It was so masterfully put together that I absolutely loved it. Death Note, the Erased also, I think was masterful.
Yes, Erased.
The Erased also. Oo, yung Psycho, ano na yun.
Ganda ng kwento na yun.
Shit, ang ganda din.
Ano ba yun?
Pero ang ganda. So properly put together. And special mentions to actually Death Note, ang ganda eh. I watched that with my wife. Tokyo Ghoul was a bit of okay lang. Tokyo Ghoul was good. So what was it? It was Naruto, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood,
Ghost
Fighter, Haikyuu, Death Note. But that's a good list. That's a good list. Happy with that.
Wala namang magagalit na anime fans doon sa list na yun.
That's a good list. That's a good, well-rounded list. Special mention to the Erased. Special mention to Abyss, Made in the Abyss. That was a great one as well. That special. And special mention Bakuman. Bakuman was great. Bakuman, solid din yung Bakuman. And honestly, props to the League of Legends adaptation.
Arcane.
Best video game adaptation gold standard. Like Arcane, I would say if Arcane is considered anime, that is definitely honorable mention. And arguably also kasi for what it achieved storytelling wise and execution wise, I think Arcane was masterful. Arcane was masterful. Movies, Your Name, and I just go Weathering with You.
Makoto Shinkai.
Dragon Ball nung kaaway si Cooler just because of the emotional effect of what it did as a kid. Diba? I think that I don't know if that was the first Dragon Ball. Si Cooler. Yung ginawang movie na nilabas sa SM and all of those things. Diba? Ghost Fighter the movie, yung kalaban yung that was great. Yung spear, yung may spear na that was great.
Ginawang movie pala yun. Shit.
Ghost Fighter the movie, hindi ko may trailer pa yun, hindi ko pa pabayaan na muling maghari ang kasamaan. 'Di ba? Ganun yung I remember that trailer, tapos nagre-Reagan siyang ganun no. So I remember that trailer. For me, I think it's always good to be able to know your parang the way you can see a top 5 if you actually try. My guide is always how much emotional impact or how much it impacted me, and I can still vividly remember it until now.
It's just mga scenes pa.
Yeah. Yaiba.
In your head.
So Yaiba was bitin eh.
Oh.
Oo, Yaiba was super bitin. Akazukin Chacha, okay din yun. Si Sarah B, no?
Yung emotional impact ng Ghost Fighter nung sinaksak ni Taguro si Alfred.
Ako for me, the most emotional ng Ghost Fighter is nung naging Ryzen si Eugene, yung sinaniba ni Ryzen, tapos binugbog si Sensui. I still remember my friend Christian Kunanan, tumawag siya, tapos gumanon kami sa phone, sigawan kami, gumanon kami, kasi sobrang lupit ng episode na yon nung binugbog talaga si Sensui, nag-super saiyan si Eugene, humaba yung buhok no. Parang yun ang stereotype dati, pag humaba yung buhok mo, lakas ka. But because of One Punch Man, tingin yung stereotype, wala na. Siya na yung pinaka nawala. Parang biniliktad eh. Kalbong pinakalakas. So, diba? Away sila ng kahit sinong mahabang book na Super Saiyan. Talo sila dyan. One Punch Man is actually brilliantly put together as well. I think in terms of the premise, an absurd premise, I think it's really, really good. Gintama daw is good pero masyado mabilis para sa akin. Hindi ko na-get yung reference-wise, medyo hindi ko pa.
There's a lot of reference nga.
It works kasi in terms of kung hardcore anime fan ka talaga because the references is part of the pace.
Yes.
And you have to be, ang dami, and I'm just like, na-overwhelm ako at some point. I'm like, hindi ko na mag-gets yung reference nito and all of those things. Special mention, Komi Can't Communicate and Spy Family. Those are good as well. Okay din.
Cute yung Komi.
Cute. I like the cute ones minsan. Slam Dunk, of course. But I would say Haikyuu. I like the execution of Haikyuu more than Slam Dunk for me. And I don't even, and I like basketball more than volleyball, but I think Haikyuu personally is a little bit better executed. For me,
Kasi parang lahat talaga, yun doon sa Haikyuu kasi parang mas maraming episode per character talaga eh. Kasi yung per character nabibigyan ng moments talaga.
It was great. Have you guys seen One Piece or not really?
Yeah, One Piece.
Yes.
Is it better? Sinasabi daw sa akin it's better than Naruto. Is it better than Naruto? Sige na.
Pinanood ko yung isang episode ng One Piece.
Ito na.
As a One Piece watcher rin talaga, ever since talaga. Hindi naman
But no spoilers ha, pero
spoiler.
is it better than Naruto?
Kung ano siguro, story.
Overall.
Same sila. Same.
Same.
Para sa akin, same. Kasi tawag dito, sa Naruto kasi parang na-achieve na yung mula story at saka sa mismong history ng
Character depth. Oo.
character depth nila, na-push through nila hanggang sa huli. Hanggang sa Naruto Shippuden. Hindi ko na papakialaman yung Boruto, pero hanggang Naruto Shippuden.
Don't even acknowledge Boruto.
walang
Boruto's like, let's not,
So hanggang
let's not get there until that mistake is fixed. Sorry ha. I hated Boruto. So disappointed with Boruto. And I'm vocal with that. Sobrang like, pucha, binastos mo. Binaboy mo yung binigay ni Kishimoto sama. Like talagang... Anyway, so you're saying One Piece.
Yeah, kumbaga yung One Piece na rin kasi, sabi na rin kasi ni Oda, yung mismong author ng One Piece, pa-end na rin siya in a 400, 500 episodes more. Ganoon na rin, parang napagtatagpi-tagpi na rin yung mismong history ng mga powers nila and all. Tapos nagkakaroon na rin parang talagang character mismo yung main crew, yung mga kanya-kanyang main crew. So, I think for me, kung matatapos yung One Piece
One Piece would be better.
I mean, same pa rin. Same pa rin with Naruto kasi nagkaroon ng parang history yung bawat characters talaga.
So you're basically saying that what Naruto did in 300 episodes.
Yes, sasabihin ko.
One Piece is doing with 1,500 episodes.
1/3 the power.
Yung sa One Piece kasi, it's all about, compared sa Naruto for me na inanto talaga, pinanood pareho. Yung sa Naruto kasi there are pacing issues and then may yung mga characters na hindi masyadong
Napikon.
layers.
True.
Sa One Piece kasi it's like onions of layers talaga na explore talaga lang Ganito yung nakita nilang character ng episode 200, mamimit nila ng episode 500, matulungan sila, mga ganun.
Mga ganun.
Yung emotional attachment mo kasi sa characters as you see their struggles kasi ang haba nun eh. So may yung mga ginawa nila all for shonen, all for
and it's more rewarding.
It's more rewarding for me. Natuwa rin ako sa Naruto, mahal ko yung Naruto, pero iba yung naging impact. Ang galing ni Oda maggawa ng isang scene na nakakaiyak na hindi naman romance.
Tama rin.
Para papaiyakin ka kasi may kasi nasira yung ship. Ganun.
Wait lang, no spoiler.
No spoilers.
Ganun.
No spoiler jet.
Pero sinabi ko ano ship.
Oo. Pero no spoilers kasi I hate spoilers. Sorry guys, I won't watch it anymore. Spoilers. Pero like you're saying na there are, well, that's actually harder to do, to pace it. And tama yung pacing, maayos yung storytelling, hindi niya binaboy. Like hindi lang bara-bara. Like it's well executed, all those 1,000 episodes.
May mga fillers pa.
I mean, yung para sa akin, kasi yung may parang mga returning characters like for example, meron silang story ng mga 100, 200, 300 na iniisip kong wala na doon. Pero in the future, meron pa pala. So mas mabigat pa pala yung kwento nila sa kumpara mo dati. Parang,
so it's more rewarding.
For me, parang ang ganda nung kasi nagagawan pa niya ng kwento yung alam mong wala na.
From the start talaga.
Oo.
So objectively, that's harder to do. Like, mas mahirap kaya. Kasi pacing, everything, layers, you have to be like a freaking next level ultra genius storyteller to put together those layers. So, in that sense, objectively, One Piece would probably be better. But you have to take the time to invest.
Yun lang.
In it.
Matagal nga kasi mahaba eh.
Hindi una ko naging problem simula eh. Yung animation.
Yun nga, that's it. Because you see how good it is now. And I see it, like when I saw the first 2 episodes, I'm just like, that's the type. Nakita ko ng sineset up niya. Like when he said goodbye to the one who wanted to be a Marine, I'm just like, okay, I can see himself using that again in the future. So parang I can see the first, let's say, 300 episodes planting seeds pa lang eh. Parang it's like a setup, it's a setup arc with progression.
Yes.
Because I see what he's doing. I'm just like, I'm trying to put myself in his head. I'm like, wow, you're just setting things up. You're not even, pero to maintain emotional weight pacing, storytelling, character development, and that sort of slow pace within those many layers within 1,500 episodes. Yun ang sinasabi, no? It'll be done in 1,500 maybe.
More or less, parang ganun.
Objectively, that would make it more of a feat, no?
Yeah.
Objectively, ang hirap gawin nun. Imagine mo yung Naruto nag 1.5.
Ilang modes, sage modes pa ba?
Anong mangyari kay Naruto, Dad? Pag nag-graduate ka, anak, malalaman na.
Wait, Eri, what episode ka ng One Piece tumigil? No, nalaman mo yung yung sa Marine, di ba? Yung nagbabay si Luffy dun sa Marine.
First 2 episodes.
That's the first 2 pa lang. Oo, first.
So,
Yeah, that's really
nagpasan niya ako ng 1 episode. Kasi I just stop ako sa 1 talaga.
So
You
then,
actually, the first episode compared to Naruto, One Piece is not gonna grip you. It really isn't. Chinaga talaga namin. We're just like, like wala. It's Naruto first episode. You're just like, like you're like, shit. I mean,
Yeah.
Yes.
But I would say that's also the nature of episodes that have a shorter lifespan. It has to hook you in the beginning because that's what's gonna happen. But if you're setting up palang, I can imagine, when does the hook start? Okay, when does the hook start for One Piece? That's a question. What episode where's the hook?
For me,
Give a episode number, ha. Don't give the actual para ano.
okay. For me yung
Para anti-spoiler.
For me yung for me lang personally na magandang arc na susunod is around kasi kakapanood ko lang recently sa Netflix, nasa Netflix na rin siya eh.
Yeah, that's where I'm watching it. Yeah, that's where we're watching it. Yeah.
I think around 110 to 120, 25. Kasi
yan ang
yun
hook. Yan na yung hook.
You're set for hanggang sa dulo.
Yung kumbaga yun yung parang doon ka mau-hook up na maganda yung labanan, maganda yung
Story,
animation. Oo. Pero kasi after that arc, sunod-sunod na arc na yun eh. I mean, panibagong character and then panibagong
Pero where's the hook? Where's the hook na talagang ma-invest, talagang emotionally ka?
Wait. Yung sabi ko dyan, may kopya ko yung storytelling ni Oda.
Storytelling wise, yes.
60 plus.
60 pa lang yung hook.
60.
Wow. 60.
How many hours yun? 60.
That's like 60 times 20 minutes. 20 minutes each episode.
Personally for me, dun ko na-realize na okay, kahit hindi pa gripping, unlike sa Naruto na nahook ka na talaga from the first 10 episodes, na grip na. Yung sa 60 plus ng One Piece, sabi ko, this will be a long ride, but it will be 101% worth it.
Worth it. That's when you realize it as someone watching and witnessing the story. 60 is when you see it somewhat where nakikita mo kung saan siya, alright, I'm invested. Wow, so you invest yourself 60 episodes to get that hook?
Ako na bata ko, 120.
Parang pambata ito na endeavor eh. No? I've said that many times.
Hirap talaga ilang 120, so kailangan kong sakyan lahat yon, like all of those. When does the animation get better?
I think
Water 7 ba yun arc?
Yeah, 200 di naman mga 200 plus.
Oh, it
So
changes
200 plus is when it gets better, but what the episode quality for episode 1 is the same until 200.
Yes. Yun ba?
Medyo. Medyo. Tapos 200 yun nga, medyo gumanda. Tapos around 400 ata or 500, parang naging level na siya ng animation do sa Naruto Shippuden. Kasi diba nag-transition yung Naruto ng animation to Naruto Shippuden. Parang doon 500 plus yung transition naman ng One Piece ng animation. Parang nag-iba yung quality talaga.
So 400 is when the animation gets really good. Wow.
Pero 60 yung ma-appreciate mo na yung masterful storytelling.
60 is when you appreciate the masterful storytelling. Okay, sige.
One question siya and there's a follow-up to it. How did you meet your wife? And ano yung ma-advise mo for long-term relationships sa mga taong karamihan ngayon, like mga Gen Z millennials na nakukuha lagi sa kilig but it's not sustainable.
Hindi na sustainable. So, wow, that's actually that's a separate episode. But, but thank you.
Mahaba yung tanong mo din eh.
Hindi yung pang final eh. Yeah.
Kaya ka eh.
But okay, no, we can end it somewhat on I met my wife. It was at a charity show during Ondoy. For some reason, I saw her and I was carrying sacks of rice. Did I look muscular, honey? Did I look muscular, or was I too excited? What? Did I look muscular carrying a sack of rice? Wasn't I carrying something when I first sacks of rice? Did you see the
muscles?
That's not what you thought. Yeah, we thought we knew each other. I said nag-high five ako sa kanya ng ganun. Tapos there was like this electricity, and I really swear that I knew this person. Like I was like, I know this person, and she also felt the same thing. Kilala ko to. There was this something. So that's how we met, and then obviously that progressed, and we officially really we had a connection, like sobrang undeniable connection, like sobrang comfortable and everything. She's my best friend. Like, she's my favorite person. I love her to death. I love her so much. So she's my best friend. I can talk to her for hours. I'm so comfortable with her. Actually didn't think we were gonna last. We didn't think we were gonna, diba honey? We didn't think. We had so much problems. We didn't think we were gonna last, or it wasn't, we didn't exactly think na parang, yes, we really wanted to be together, but we didn't know how we would make it. Because we had our own issues that really either brought out really ugly, dark, and it was bad. My issues really hit a spot with her issues hit a spot with my issues, and it was just a constant triggering, and it was very difficult to go through. But I remember also saying that if we get through this, we will be the best versions of ourselves. If we get through this. And that was a big if at the time, and we almost actually lost. My advice for me and my wife, if you look at us from the outside, you would say break up. That's what you would say. That's what you would say if you saw us. Like, in terms of our issues and how we are and everything, you'd be like break up. But we knew what we had. We knew what we had. We knew we had a connection. We knew we have something. Any logical, sane person might have gotten an easier route, but it took so much work to get to a point where we are now. And sometimes I can't believe it. I'm like, oh wow, look how far we've come. Like, I can't believe it. Like, in terms of how hard it was. You can't let other people define who's the one for you. You can listen to advice. You can listen to advice, obviously. You can listen to it objectively. But a connection is a connection. We both had issues, but we both really wanted to be together. You cannot be with someone who doesn't want it as much as you. That's my first. Kasi if you want it, pero the other one doesn't, ang hirap nun. Diba? You're giving it, ang hirap. Diba? Like you said, you can't change someone who doesn't want to change. And you can't force someone to want something they don't want. Same thing. We both wanted it. So that's why we work so hard to get there. Relationships is a lot of work. And in this world where it's really easy to self-gratify and get instant rewards, it might seem like too much. But for the kids who can understand what it means, relationships take work. Friendships take work. It's really work. It takes understanding yourself and understanding your issues, communicating properly, understanding the issues of your partner, accepting them for who they are and what they're not, and working from that. Acceptance is a big key in a real relationship, because you can't choose someone you don't accept. You can't.
Yes.
There's no way to choose someone you don't accept. If marriage is a choice, you have to accept it. There's no way. You can't choose someone you don't accept. You know, that's what it is. That's what a choice is, diba? Parang you're the one that I want to, lahat ng sayad mo, lahat ng pagkukulang mo, everything you are and everything you're not, you're the person that I would love to do that with. If I'm that person for you too, then let's work it for as long as we don't hurt each other and you don't hurt me and I don't hurt you, or I don't know, because you also have to set a standard for yourself. If I start hurting my wife in a way that's unacceptable, or she does that, we even talked about it, we'll break up. She'll leave me. That's important. Huh? You can't let someone be the source of your happiness. You have to be your own source of happiness. That's how it is. Another person can't be responsible for your happiness. That's just so much weight and it's just not sustainable. Like, ikaw ang magpapasaya sa akin? Really? No.
Independent ka din.
You have to make yourself happy. The other person makes you happier and you get to share that happiness. But if it takes another person to make yourself whole and stand, is that healthy? You have to make yourself whole and stand. So, to wrap that up, a connection is a connection. You will know it if you have it. That's what it is. And I hope the people who find that connection, even if it's just a friend, even if it's a no, but if it's your best friend, you get to marry them, great. I personally don't. Getting to find someone with that is, there's not a lot of people you meet. And I would say there are also people that might not entirely meet that person, diba? Ganun yun. But the important thing is, you have to start with your own happiness. And I have a person who loves me more than anything, and I love her more than anything. But even she can't make me happy. I have to make myself happy. And the great thing about making yourself happy, even if you find that person to share it with, great. But if not, at least you're happy. So for me, that's important. Relationships take work. It's work. So and it's always gonna be hard. You just have to find the person where it's worth all that shit you have, all that really dark, hard, all those things. You find the person you wanna find the person. Ikaw. How hard it is, ikaw. I'll do it with you, ha? Like tayo, ha? Ako din? Okay, tara, let's go. No matter how hard it gets, you choose the person that you want to do that with. With this generation, man, it's a little bit harder to do. It's so easy to get that instant gratification, to get all those little, diba? Those dopamine, like, oh, great, reward.
Yeah.
But the things that give you deep meaning take time. If you get it in 5 days, it's not really. It won't. It can't. If you get it in a month, no. For the kids who want something that you can truly look and see how far you've come, you can't get that far in a month. To see how far you've come, it takes years. You're like, wow. The more you put into it, the more further you can look back on. You have all of these stories, and that time gives it more meaning. And you need time for that. Diba? You can't establish a deep relationship in 1 month, 6 months. I don't know. It takes time, and the more time you give it, oh my God, you have so many stories and so many moments that you got to share with someone. And I am very, very, very grateful, and actually, okay na ako. Like all of these other things, the success I have, my biggest success is getting to keep my wife.
Yan.
Right. Okay. At least light note and diba, yung last nating napag-usapan.
Medyo na-balance naman yung bigat. No, but I mean, me and my wife, that's a whole different topic. Yeah, but yeah, I'm really lucky. Really lucky. But we worked for it. Grabe talaga. To the point na parang we deserve to be happy. We fucking worked on it. Like when I look at her, I'm like, wow. Sometimes you don't believe that you can be happy. Like I don't think I deserve it. No, but we work so hard to be happy. It's not. Yeah, we definitely deserved it because we worked for it. We worked to be happy, to be the kind of people that can be happy and accepts happiness and go put in the work to get it. Yun din eh. It's a lot of stories behind those.
Lot of relationships with work talaga kaakibat. Yun yung hindi marirealize ng generation ngayon na youth is not always with you. Hindi lagi nasa likod mo.
No.
We are stewards of this good earth. Hindi tayo tatagal. You gotta choose someone na you spend the rest of your life with.
It's a choice, and it's a choice to work on. It's a choice. It's a choice, yeah. But yeah, I mean that's a whole different topic. Like the current state of relationships for this generation, for Gen Z, I don't know if I'm personally qualified to see it. I have to see it more in a deeper skate, because I mean, who's to say that there aren't deep relationships being made right now by Gen Z? I think I don't want to stereotype them. I just think that they live in a harder type of world where really it's so easy kasi to have choices. So like choosing is a little bit harder because you have all these choices. So I'm saying like it's so easy now. Like it's so easy to have all these relationships in front of you. But at the end of the day, you have to choose someone. I mean, you know, you have to choose someone. Like, and whoever that choice is for you is up to you. The work is the same. All of these things. You just have more choices now.
Pero kung wala kang mahanap, and you're comfortable with it, it's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like at least that's why I said being happy with yourself is the so. Yeah, kasi kung masaya ka sa sarili mo, and even if you're with someone and hindi ka masayang tao, you think that other person who loves you more than anything. I'm telling it to you now, I am with that person. I've married that person. If I didn't want to be happy and I'm not happy with myself, she couldn't make me happy. As much as she loves me. If I chose to still be unhappy, or if I chose to let myself go through a hole or a certain place, no matter how much she loves me, if I didn't want to be happy or not happy with myself, she couldn't do it.
Yes, my son. 2 minutes, baby. 2 minutes, okay?
Oh, yan ang anak ko na wants to play Minecraft. So, daddy, play mo, narinig niyo yun, ha?
Si boss.
Sorry, bossing.
Sorry pa, boss.
No, nandun na. But yeah, that's why even if you don't meet that person, if you're happy with yourself, my God, you can still have friendships, relationships. Who says you can't have relationships? You just didn't have that person. And if you're happy with yourself and that's the kind of life you want, nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that. There's no wrong way to live a full life. Doesn't mean that you have to have a family. Doesn't mean that you have to meet the love of your life. Many ways to experience relationships. There's no one way.
Busog ang puso namin. Maraming salamat.
Advice.
Oh, no problem. Just sharing. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it.
Salamat po ulit sa pakikinig sa Pampamilya Podcast at sana nag-enjoy po kayo sa ating guest ngayon. At ano po pala, Sir Eri, message for them. Closing message for them.
Salamat sa pakikinig. Thank you for listening. And it was fun talking to you guys. The time really passed really quickly. Salamat.
Kaya nga,
Thank you for the time, Sir Eri.
Thank you
for listening.
Thank you. Sobra.
Appreciate it.
Alright. Alright, guys.
Okay.
Alright, ingat kayo guys. Minecraft na ako, ha.
Thank you. Thank you.
Craft those diamonds. Yeah.
Thank
Alright,
you.
ingat.
Thank you.
Okay.